Hi guys, you're most welcome to another episode on TurkAfriq TV, your most authoritative Turkey Africa channel, with me, Abuaji Minta, Mr. Turkey Ghana. Today we'll be looking at the visa application process. I've got a lot of questions, a lot of queries about the best way to successfully apply for a student visa to Turkey. And today that's exactly what we're going to be looking into. As usual, if you haven't subscribed already, kindly subscribe so you'll be able to get all the information we put here. Also, we'll be very much appreciative if you can share or also tell a friend about this vlog. We will appreciate that very much. So catch you on the other side. We'll be talking about the visa application process. The first thing you need to understand, specifically if you are in Ghana and in most parts of Africa, the Turkish embassies don't receive applications directly anymore. That is the case for Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. The Turkish embassy does not directly receive visa applications as it used to be the case in the past. So if you've applied for a Turkish visa successfully in the past, you knew that you have to fill a form, you take it directly to the embassy together with all your documents, and then you go for an interview and then you wait for your visa. That is not the case anymore. The Turkish embassy has now introduced another agency that collects the documents, that processes the document, and also handles the interviews for the embassy. So the company is called MS Visa. This is a Turkish company, MS Visa Center. So they work pretty much like VFS. For those of you who know how VFS works, that's exactly what happens. So what has happened now is that with this company, you have to take all your documents there. You have to fill the forms there. You can fill it online or you can go and fill it in their offices, and they would also handle the interviews. They then file all your documents nicely and then also write a report on that and send the report and your documents to the embassy. So the embassy is still responsible for issuing the visa. So these people just handle the documents, they put a report based on the interview they had with you on your document and send that to the embassy. So it's a very important agency, and we're going to look at the documents they require and how to deal with them in such a way that your chances of getting the visa is much higher. Okay, so let's look now at the documents required. The documents required for the visa. Before I get to the document, it's important you understand that as per the rules of the Turkish embassy, you have to allow yourself at least 1 month, so the application process and the whole process of assessing your application and also issuing the visa or not takes at least 1 month. Of course, there are times when it takes much sooner than that, but the embassy insists that you should give yourself 1 month from the time that you submit all your documents for the application and the time that you want to travel. They don't want to be pressured. So that's very important. You need to take that into consideration. Regarding the documents you need, obviously, the first one is a valid passport. It should be valid for at least 6 months. That's very important. So your passport should be valid for at least 6 months. You would also need, beside the passport, you need a photocopy of the bio page, the page where you have your picture and all your data. You need to also make a colored photocopy of that page and add it to that. You also need one passport size photograph, the American size. That's slightly bigger than the regular passport size photograph. So you need at least one passport size photograph. Very important. Then also you need your flight reservation. The embassy normally prefers Turkish Airlines. Of course, they want to give more business to Turkish Airlines. That's totally understandable. But of course, you can bring other flights reservations. But it's always advisable that if you can, you work with Turkish Airlines. Not necessarily that it improves your chances, but it helps. So you need a flight reservation. So that's very important. The flight reservation is different from the actual tickets. Please note that. You can do a reservation and pay later. So you need a flight reservation. That gives the embassy an idea of when you hope to go and when you hope to come back. It gives them an idea, and that also helps them to understand how they're going to treat your application. So that's very important. In case of a student visa, you're not necessarily coming back anytime soon, so you're doing a one-way ticket. So that's very important. You need to have that. You need to also have an accommodation reservation. Since you're going to school, you may want to do a deal. If you spoke to the universities themselves, they can hook you up. You can take a dorm in the universities, or you can rent an apartment, however it is that you want. I have another video in which I discuss the costs. So if you are looking at the cost, you may want to check out that video, and you'll be able to understand the cost of accommodation in Turkey. So take note of that. But you will need some kind of document that proves that you've already arranged accommodation in Turkey. That's very important to the embassy. It also helps them know that you're serious about your application. The next important document is your admission letter. Of course, that's very important. That is what lets the embassy know that you actually have admission. Normally, to get the admission letter, you have to make some payment to the university. Some universities require at least a part payment of your first year tuition fees. Some universities have other ways of arranging that payment. Some universities require full payment, and so you will need to get that. So the embassy would normally require you to bring your admission fees and evidence of payments. That's very important. So your admission fees, they go hand in hand. Your admission fees and evidence of payment, all of that indicate to the embassy that you are very serious about your application. The next thing is your sponsorship. That is, if you are not sponsoring your own education. So if you're somebody who is probably doing masters or PhD, you're probably sponsoring your education. In that case, then you don't need a sponsorship letter. But if you are younger, probably looking to pursue an undergraduate degree, then you probably have sponsorship from your parents, or from a family member, or from some respected member of society, or whoever it is. But you probably need a notarized sponsorship letter indicating that so and so is the one sponsoring you. There's a standard way of writing it. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to find it. But if you need help with that, you can always contact us in the comment section, and we'll be able to help you. But you need a letter from whoever it is that is sponsoring you. If you are not sponsoring your own education, you need that. If it's notarized, then it's even better. So that's very important. The next one, obviously, is a bank statement. It is very, very, very important to the embassy to be able to understand that either you or whoever it is that is sponsoring you has the requisite finances for such an endeavor. It is very, very important. That is arguably probably the most important point. You see, all embassies want to understand or want to appreciate your economic ties to your country. So the last thing they want is for you to go and not go to school and go and do something else, or go and just use school as a ploy to go and stay there and do something else. And so they want to appreciate that you have the resources required for this endeavor, because obviously, even though studying in Turkey is much cheaper, it still requires significant funding. And so they want to appreciate your level of your economic position. So they would want to know your bank statement. It has to have records for at least 6 months. Very, very important. It has to have records of at least 6 months. What the embassy is interested in is not necessarily how much is sitting in the account, but they want to know the flow. Is it a proper account? Is it the case that you went to take some account, that you borrowed some money from somewhere and then you had some big bank balance, but then you look at the flow of the account and in the last 6 months absolutely nothing has happened in the account? That is suspicious. So please note that the embassy is not necessarily looking at the balance in the account. It could be the case that there's a very small amount in the account, but if you look at the flow of the account in the last 6 months, it shows that this is somebody who has the means, to handle it. Also, whether it's your account or the sponsor's account, normally the bank statement allows them to see, does he have a job? For example, if you brought a document that indicates that you are sponsoring your own trip and you worked in, say, XYZ bank, the bank statement allows them to verify that information. Because if you work in XYZ bank, then every month XYZ bank should be paying you a salary, and all of that will be indicated in your bank statement. So that's absolutely crucial. So the bank statement is one document, but it helps them to see a lot of things about your general economic status. So it's very, 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 very important. The next point is also related: evidence of work. Normally the embassy would want pay slips for at least 3 months, right? Yeah, pay slips for at least 3 months. Some people tell me, well, what if I work for myself? Well, even if you work for yourself, you still have to pay yourself. It's in our part of the world, in Africa, a lot of people don't do that, but that's the right process. You need to do that, so you have to pay yourself. So they would need some evidence of work. If you work for a company, a more recognized company, then it's much easier. You can get a letter from the company that indicates that you work there. If you normally go to an HR department, most of these companies, they know how to handle those situations. They'll write you a very good letter. But if you can't get that, you can get your pay slips. That helps a ton. So all of that helps them. That is useful when you are sponsoring your own education. But if you are not and you have a sponsor, then it works the same way for the sponsor. You need the sponsor to also give some evidence of work. If he owns his own company, fine, you can bring a letter indicating that this is a company and I own the company, I'm CEO and owner of the company. It all helps. Also, you would need any supporting documents that you have will also be welcome. Supporting documents could be, again, you have to understand that in any visa application process, the most important thing is showing economic ties to your country. Is to show that you have reason to return. You have no reason to become an economic burden to the states, and that cuts across any kind of visa application process. That is also valid when you're applying for a Turkish visa. So supporting documents could be property. If you are sponsoring yourself and you have property, you have cars, documents of ownership of cars, or some piece of property in terms of land or houses, that is always advisable. It only goes to show them that you are cooking, that you're okay, you are comfortable economically, you are capable of paying, and you have economic ties. It means that you won't go and become an economic burden on the states. So that's very, very important. It works the same way for a sponsor. So if it's a sponsor, sometimes it goes up a little bit of a notch when it's a sponsor, because if you are offering to sponsor somebody, then they would want to see a little bit more. So economic attachment, very important. Any kind of supporting document in this direction only helps your application. If you're somebody who has worked for an NGO, who has volunteered for some important community service, or who's done some great piece of work that has impacted society, if you can get some documents to attach to that helps a ton. It makes them know that you are an outstanding member of society and you are somebody who can be relied on. Remember that when it comes to visa application, you want to show yourself as somebody who is trustworthy, because nobody is necessarily seeing you. You need to show via documents that you are a reliable player, that under no circumstances will you become an economic burden to the Turkish state. That's really very important, and you show that through your documents. So you need time to work on your documents. It's very important. Now let's look at the application process. So we've looked at the documents, let's look at the process itself. I indicated at the outset that the embassy no longer takes direct applications, so you have to go through the visa center, the MS visa center. That has simplified the process incredibly. So the way the MS visa center works is that you can simply walk in anytime during the week. You don't necessarily even need an appointment. You can simply walk in anytime during the week. So if once you have these documents that we've mentioned, you put them together, you can walk in anytime from Monday to Friday. Of course, working hours, because that doesn't mean you can go there at night, of course. But anytime during the working hours, you can walk in to their offices, wherever you are on the continent. You want to check, that's something you need to know. In Ghana, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in many parts of West Africa, the MS Visa Center is working. But my understanding is that in certain parts of Africa, the embassy takes applications directly. So you may want to check that. But in every place that the MS Visa Center works on behalf of the embassy to take applications, this is how they operate. They've completely simplified the process. So you don't even have to do the application online, fill the application forms online anymore. If you don't want to do, if you want to do that, then you can. But if you don't want to do that, you don't need to do that. You can just get your documents together and walk in to the visa center anytime during the working hours, Monday to Friday, and say you want to apply for a student visa. Once you get there, they will help you fill the form there. It's part of their task. They will help you fill the form there. They will put your documents together, and they will also carry the interview there. Normally, my experience is that their interviews are much softer than when the embassy themselves used to have it. So you can just walk into the visa center and apply, as I indicated. Again, you don't even have to go to a bank as it used to be in the case in the past. So when we were applying directly with the embassy, you had to go to a bank and make payments at the bank and bring a slip or attach a slip to your application. With the visa center now, you can go and pay directly at the visa center. so you don't necessarily have to go to a bank and make payments. Also, with the documents that we mentioned that you have to do flight reservations, and in some instances you have to also do insurance, travel insurance. A lot of the time for students, you can do it when you get to Turkey, but the visa center also provides those services. So if you want to do flight reservations, for example, that is something the visa center does provide, and so you can just go there and have everything there. So what they've sought to create is a one-stop visa application center, so you can go and do all the other things there. All right, guys, so that's how we wrap up. Obviously, if you don't find anything, you can put it in the comment section. You can contact us via the comment section and we'll be happy to support. Of course, you can also contact us on all our social media platforms or my personal social media pages, and I'll be happy to get back to you on that. Of course, if you need specific support, so if your case is slightly different and you need specific help with the visa application process, we are happy to help you. TurkAfriq, that's what you do. You can contact us, check out our website, send us an email, and we'll be happy to get back to you with the support that is required. As usual, we are most grateful for your time. We are always happy to have you here. If you have some ideas about other information you'd want to see us do a video on regarding Turkey and its relationship with Africa, kindly share with us in the comment section and we'll be happy to look into that. Thank you very much, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you.